Greetings, I am Herbert Erpaderp, and today I'm going to build this tank. I don't really want to try reading Chzlog Leki 7TP.
You're the worst, Herbert!
Thanks.
You're welcome.
7TP is simple enough, at least. I believe it means 7-ton Polish, though I think it did actually weigh a bit more than that. Anyway, as you might be guessing, this is a 72nd scale gaming model from First to Fight for their game Rzeszeń 1939, the pronunciation of which I've obviously just slaughtered. I did try though. The back of the box has some information about the 7TP in Polish, German, and English. There's a basic painting guide featuring what I think is a pretty interesting camo scheme, and a couple of exploded diagrams that will function as instructions. As with the previous First to Fight kits I've done, these are quite small and could be difficult to use for some, including myself. The instructions can be found on their website. This is nice because you can zoom in on the digital instructions much easier than you can on a cardboard box, unless you've got some sort of special eyes, I guess. Inside the box we find two sprues moulded in a green plastic. This first one, as you can see, mostly has the two halves of the hull, as well as a couple of other bits and pieces. This is pretty well detailed if you ask me. If you look at the upper hull part, there's quite a lot of good detail moulded into it. I mean, it's not like hyper detailed or anything like that, and it is a relatively cheap wargaming kit after all, but it does look pretty good. The turret and tracks come on this sprue. Well, actually, now that I'm looking at it, it seems to be two sprues that haven't been separated, which is not a problem, just an observation. There's not a lot of parts here either, though they do look rather good. This is clearly going to be a fairly simple and quick kit to build. Obviously I've already built it, so I know that to be true. No decals are included with this kit, but it does come with a magazine. They all do. The magazine of course is printed in Polish, which you'll be surprised to learn I still can't read. Though somebody did suggest using Google Translate with a phone, so that might be a way to read this if you don't speak Polish. I haven't tried it, but it seems like a decent idea. Anyway, that's what's in the box, or in the case of the magazine, glued to the box. Okay, let's start gluing some bits of plastic together. I start with the hull, which seemed like the most sensible place to begin. The first thing I did was glue the plate onto which the turret will mount. I guess we might call this the fighting compartment roof. Or Terry. Let's call it Terry. As you can probably see, our good buddy Terry is not symmetrical. The opening for the turret should be on the tank's left. This goes on pretty easily, and I add a bit of extra glue on the inside. This should please the glue god. I did this before putting the lower hull part on because I figured it would be a bit less annoying if for some reason I needed access to the underside of the roof part, in case something went wrong or something. Nothing did go wrong, but sometimes it pays to think of these things. Why not join the upper and lower hull parts now though?
I can't think of any reasons.
Nor can I. This is a rather simple process thanks to those guide pins and corresponding sockets. Add glue, press them together, you might need to press kind of hard, but that's no big deal, and it goes together nicely, and then we've got a nice 7TP hull. It does have a lot of stuff moulded into it, but there are still bits and pieces that we need to add ourselves, most notably the tracks. These are very simple to install, as I'm sure you can see. 2 pins, glue, and a little bit of pressure, and they're on. They are kind of thin, so do be careful when applying pressure to avoid bending or otherwise damaging them. If you want a little extra strength, I would suggest adding a bit of glue where the mount for the road wheels makes contact with the side of the hull. That little bit of extra glue should keep things in place well enough. Next, I add this horn. You know, for when the tank is horny and feels a need to do some honking. I know how things work. This was a little bit fiddly to get into place, but certainly not the most fiddly part of this build. I follow this with the towing hook, just in case there's a need to tow a trailer or something like that. This goes on with the little bit that sticks out, facing upwards. Above that, I mount this. I'm pretty sure it's the muffler and exhaust system, and it goes into place nice and easy, with only a little bit of nudging. Some extra glue to make sure that it stays where we want it isn't a bad idea either. Next come some spare wheels. They go here on the side of the hull with little to no effort. A stowage box is then mounted just a little bit forward of those wheels. Nice and easy. I don't know what would be kept in there. Some sort of Polish delicacy, probably. The other side has the same parts added to it in the same easy manner. Well, not exactly the same parts. We left those where we put them. Different parts that look the same.
You don't need to explain that, Herbert, it's pretty obvious.
Are you sure? To finish the hull, I add these teeny tiny headlamps. This is the most fiddly part of the build. Fortunately, these are on the upper areas with nothing around them to get in the way, so they're not as annoying to get into places they would be were they tucked away in a corner or something like that. Of course, they are still fiddly, but they look good when they're finally in place. And that's the hull completed. Very quick and easy. Hold on to your butts because now it's turret time. I start by gluing the two halves of the turret together. This is made easy by the guide pins, though of course you might find that you need to apply a fair bit of pressure here. The roof and rear wall of the bustle part goes on next, and obviously this is a single part, which again makes things nice and easy. Though unsurprisingly, that does mean you can't model the hatches open. I wasn't going to, but some might find that a little bit of a disappointment. The unfortunate thing here is that the bustle is open at the bottom, making it pretty much useless for storing anything. Though it does make it nice and easy to get a bit of extra glue up in there. The turret front goes on next, and this is pretty easy.
Everything's easy, isn't it, Herbert?
Well, yeah. It did end up looking a little bit gappy, despite my pressure applying efforts, but it could be worse. It's not much of a turret without the shooty bits. So I glue the main gun into place, and this is...
He's gonna say it's nice and easy again!
Yeah, no, it's good and not difficult. It goes into the opening on the tank's right, like so. Then I install the machine gun. This has a rather large protective housing, or I assume it's protective and not just decorative. Or maybe the gun is water-cooled. That could explain it too. Either way, I think it would have been a better idea to install this before the main gun, so that wouldn't have been nudged out of place. But it's not like it's hard to correct, so do it either way. I do my best to ensure both guns are on nice and straight, and then I add this little antenna. I assume it's an antenna anyway. It needed a bit of nudging, but it's pretty simple to get into the right place. Then, using the simple locking tab mechanism, I join the turret to the hull. It freely rotates with no issue, so the tank can swing its gun around and shoot in any direction it wants. Such convenience. And with that, the 72nd scale plastic 7TP Polish tank from First to Fight is completed. I think this is a really cool little model. Obviously it is intended as a wargaming piece, and that's why it's made up of so few parts, and why it's been designed so that it's pretty quick and easy to build. It's so that you can get your swarm of 7TPs ready for glorious battle without too much delay. The detail here is pretty good, but again, it is a wargaming kit, so there's going to be some simplification here and there. That simplification does also happen on regular display models, it's just often a bit more pronounced on a gaming model. Still, I think you'll agree that it looks pretty good. The shovel and whatever that bar thing on the right side are actually quite good looking for moulded on details, and things like the rivets don't seem to be excessively large and out of scale here, like they can be on some gaming kits. The tracks, being single parts, do have that lack of tread detail that you usually see on gaming kits, but they look rather good from the side. If the lack of tread detail really bothers you, that can always be hidden with some mud. So I think this is a nice little model, and it's going to look really good on a gaming table, especially once it's painted. I don't have any plans to paint this right away, but I do quite like the camo scheme suggested by the box, so I might try that out. Like I'm pretty sure I said earlier, this 7TP is pretty quick and easy to put together. This is one of those nice little builds that I find pretty relaxing and fun to do. You also get the benefits of seeing results nice and quick. I built this in the same stream as the TKS I recently made a video about, and it's quite unusual to get two models built in one stream, that being a stream of like 2 hours, so you know that it's a quick build. It was also, as I said, a fun build. So far, all of the First to Fight kits I've put together have been quite fun, and there are definitely going to be more to come. I've got another 6 in my stash already, and I'll undoubtedly pick up more. The next one I build will be decided by patron vote. I'm not sure how much longer the poll to decide that will be open for. In fact, by the time this video is public, it may even be closed already. That's because I'm pretty darn keen to build another one of these kits. Anyway, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to put those in the comments section below. If you'd like to watch me build kits like this one live on stream, head on over to my Twitch channel, which happens to be where I stream. The link is in the description below. And if you've not already done so, why not subscribe, follow, ring the bell, consider becoming a patron if you want to see my videos a bit early, or maybe just come say hi on Discord or Twitch when I'm live next. Links to all of my things like social media are in the description below, and, as always, I shall return soon. So until then, be excellent to each other, have a fantastic day, and thanks for watching. Farewell.